Are you serious about your health and fitness, but overwhelmed by the conflicting information and BS all over social media? Welcome to Fit Facts. Brought to you by Brandon Pascual and Gabe Erno. With a combined 10 years of training experience, this physical therapist and personal trainer duo bring you the most up-to-date and applicable fitness and lifestyle tips based on the most cutting-edge research, bridged with field experience of what actually works and is sustainable for the long term. Enjoy.
I think my favorite part about the podcast is knowing the both of you and your personalities and hearing how you speak on the podcast in person, like personally and also business-wise. It's hilarious. I just love it.
You should have seen me on the radio show I was on. Because like those two, they don't know me personally.
Yeah.
One is my client, but it's just like, I'm like more professional in here.
Yeah.
Like I can't have that slang where I'm like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then I'm like,
is that slang?
Yeah. I can't talk like I gotta be like,
you know what I mean?
I have to say, do you perceive what I meant? Or do you perceive what I said?
Am I articulating clearly the message that I'm trying to communicate?
They're trying to take notes from Gabe.
I'm like, do you need me to expound on that? Exactly. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Well, you know, it's an amazing day because we literally have our biggest fan, the biggest Fit Facts fan
I still don't
of
have a
all.
t-shirt.
If a t-shirt's ever made, again, I'm not promising that because I already have another client.
Can I mention the story?
Mention the story.
All right. So me and Gabe referred one of his clients to me for physical therapy. And then I actually gave him a shirt yesterday because I always give my clients one free shirt for re-signing. And then he told me, like, I've been working with Gabe for a year and a half, and I never got a shirt from him. And then I was telling him that, like, hey, my new shirt's coming in fall. And he's like, yo, if I get 2 shirts from you and Gabe still hasn't given me any single, like, merch, like, I'm about to fire him.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I first started working with him, I was like, he's like, oh, I told him, I was like, yeah, I give all my clients, like, shirts.
Yeah.
And then I just like realized that I'd given them all away already. I didn't have any more. So I was like, when I make new shirts, I will give you one. But now it's been over a year and I haven't made new shirts.
I was going to say.
So he's always giving me crap about that. It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, seriously, you are the number one Fit Facts fan. You listen to all the episodes. You give us good ideas. And today we get to interview you, which is exciting. This is Vanessa, my colleague, your colleague, and I will say, one of my favorite trainers. Anyway, so I just thought it'd be interesting, like we just talk a little bit about like your background, and then we just have some, trainer questions that we want to ask. So Brandon, why don't you start off with your first question?
This is a very big question. I like to ask everyone this all the time.
Every time.
It's pretty serious, honestly. Who the fuck are you? I'm just kidding. Who are you? So go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do. Just give the listeners like an introduction about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Vanessa. I've been in the fitness industry for, what year is it? 2023. So 10, 11, 12 years?
Wow.
12 years.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I've been doing
I knew
it for
that.
a while. So I, long story short, what got me into the industry, I was a professional athlete. I used to run track as a kid. And I had a lot of injuries just from my back, from my knees, my shoulders, and so it kind of sucked. And I had to go to physical therapy, chiropractors as a kid, and I hated it. But I also realized how important it was. And then getting into my high school years, I was like, I kind of want to go into physical therapy. Like, that sounds like a great thing to do. Like, I saw how much, progress I made with PT.
Don't do it.
And, my sister's a PT, and she told me the same thing. But I was supposed to intern with this PT clinic, and then they were like, actually, we don't need the help. And I'm like, bro, I'm giving you free help. Why
I remember you telling that story, yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we just don't need you. And so I went outside and I was like, well, sheesh. I have 12 hours to find a new internship spot. And so I walked downstairs and saw a gym and I was like, do you guys need free labor, free help? And they're like, yeah, and so,
come on in.
So at that point I was a senior in high school. I was 18 years old and I was, what was it? 84 pounds. No, 84? Wait.
I don't know if you're 84 pounds. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know how much
I
you
was
weigh.
gonna say, trying to remember. It was either 8 or 84 pounds.
Wow.
But,
And how much are you now for perspective?
I'm 113 now.
So huge difference.
So I started working with some of the trainers there, and like there were so many things that PT were like, oh, you're never going to be able to do this. You're never going to be able to like lift weights over your head. Like it's just going to cause too much pain. And I was like, okay, sure. And then my personal trainer was like, nah, you're going to lift those. And then like 2 months later, I was throwing up 20 pounds each arm for a shoulder press. And I was at 100 pounds.
That's
so
awesome.
I finally
Nice.
hit triple digits, which was like my biggest goal.
Okay.
Yeah, because you said you had been chronically underweight all your life until then, right? Yeah.
And so then I was like, wait, like there's more than just physical therapy out there. And so my sister worked at a explosive performance facility out in the DC area. And so I started working with them too. And then from there, just started loving it. Went into a lot of rehab settings, did cardiac rehab, respiratory rehab. I did PT with sports, with more just like surgeries for like more geriatrics, and then did neuro rehab once I moved out to San Diego. So got into all of that. But one of my biggest passions was also trying to see the whole body perspective and not just like focus on just exercise, but also like the body work, which is like, you know, like I feel like physical therapy is a big exercise and body work. And so this last year I went to massage school and just finished last week. So.
Yeah, congratulations.
Finally done.
Awesome.
There we go. Yeah, it sounds like your upbringing was a lot from you just like working with a personal trainer and kind of still being underweight, and then having limiting beliefs from other providers saying, hey, you can't lift that stuff up.
Yeah.
And then you went into that field and you're like, oh, I'm able to lift now because I'm a personal trainer who trained me correctly, and you're able to see that, and you're able to kind of have that passion and give it to your clients as well, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's so crazy how like people can give you beliefs like you'll never be able to do that. Like don't do that. You're gonna have pain. All these
Especially
things.
when you're younger.
And you just take it. You accept it.
Like, thanks.
You're right. So it took someone else to like break that belief for you, but now it's like been very empowering and changed your life for the positive. So that's really awesome.
And shoulder press is my favorite exercise. One of them.
Yeah.
Exercises.
To this day.
I like all exercises, but
Big reverse lunge girl, I've noticed.
I do.
Whenever you're working out, I always see you doing Smith machine reverse lunge.
I love
Every
that.
time.
They're so good.
That's really cool though. So then you wanted to have a more of a holistic approach and incorporate that body work. So you just went to massage school, and now you were telling me you're planning on incorporating that into your training, like working more body work in with your clients.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
No.
I was like, I can't elaborate.
Yeah, so how do you plan on like doing that? Because what's your approach like? I'm pretty sure like before you went to massage school, you had clients and you had a different approach because you didn't really do that much hands-on work. But now that you know a lot of hands-on work, what's your approach going forward now?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things, and this was one thing that I knew I was like didn't know if I was gonna fully learn, but I knew I really wanted to learn this, was posture assessment. Which is something, you know, like we all know our overhead squat assessment and all of that, and our movement assessments through NASM and all of them. But honestly, like we don't really, like, even, so in massage school, I did 2 classes that did the posture assessment. I also did it in college too. And so it didn't really fully click till the 3rd class. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, like, why are we not like doing posture assessments on our clients? And even just like for me, like right off the bat, like just looking at a client, I'm not gonna like immediately be able to be like, oh yeah, for sure I have everything down. Like I'm working with a massage therapist right now that Brandon recommended me like intern with, and she's like, yeah, I just like see someone walk in and I can see everything that you're seeing, but you just have to take a little bit more time. And it's like, it's okay that I have to take that time because I am new into like doing it.
Sure.
And so like I think that's one thing that I'm trying to learn. It's like sometimes you learn from someone who's like been doing it for a long time and they're like, how do you not just see it? And it's like, well, you need practice, okay?
Yeah.
But that's been one of the biggest takeaways for me is just being able to assess like one of my clients and just saying, oh, like I'm seeing that like, you know, your left shoulder is a little bit lower than your right, and it's not coming from your shoulder, it's really coming from your hip. And then it's like, oh shoot, now we're looking at the hip. Like this whole time, like a lot of people will be like, oh, it's the shoulder is a problem. But it's like, no, it could be the lat, it could be your QL, it could be your hip, it could be literally so many different things. And if we're not taking the proper time to assess, then we're not going to be able to actually fix the problem.
Yeah.
I love that right there, because like I think we had one episode where I talked about like my 4-step process with my patients. It's like, first step, relieve the pain. Second step, find the root cause and address it. Because as you know, like you probably dealt with it, like traditional medicine, when they say, oh, I have knee pain, they just look at the knee only and not the hip, not the foot, not the lower back, not how they walk or anything. Just look at the knee only.
It's about, let's address that pain.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
just get rid of the pain.
Yeah.
And then, all right, it's all good now.
It's all
the pain's
good now.
gone, we're done.
We're done. Insurance keep giving us that patient so we can get more money.
Yeah.
I know. I had one one client back on the East Coast. She was a firecracker. I loved her. She was 68 years old, and she had before she started working with me, she was working with another trainer, and she had a full right knee replacement. Then that led to her having to get the left hip replaced, and then 2 years later, because of rehab and how they weren't really focused on working all of the muscles, she ended up having to get the other knee and the other hip replaced.
Oh my God.
So it's
tough.
so she had, and she was she was an ICU nurse, and so she's on her feet, she's moving all day long. She's not like able to, like she had to towards I think for like 3 months she couldn't do any training, or she could do the training, she couldn't do any work because she physically couldn't walk that well. And so we were just trying to get her prepared for her surgeries, and then once she got her surgeries, she came back, and she was like, because of all the training that we had done, it helped so much with her recovery. So she was ahead of schedule compared to a lot of the other patients in the clinic.
Yeah, pre-operation, like any kind of like exercise is very important.
Yeah.
Like I noticed it, especially, I started implementing it now with my clients now, but I had 2 different internships in PT school. One was in a traditional PT insurance-based clinic. The other one was more sports performance. It was like hybrid from cash and insurance. The one that was traditional, when someone was about to do their pre-op physical therapy, they didn't really address the knee like strengthening and all that. They just kind of gave it like heat and stim, and just like, and that's it. That's like, yeah, this is your pre-op physical therapy right here. We're just gonna warm up your knee before surgery. We're gonna do that 3 times a week, 4 weeks before surgery.
Oh, that's wild.
But then when I was at the other clinic, it's more sports performance based. They were actually doing a lot of, they didn't even touch the knee, like they didn't even like give any like massage, no modalities. They actually worked the hell out of it.
Yeah.
They make sure that they were able to do heavy ass squats going into the surgery. And then even after the surgery, they actually, even that the affected leg was immobilized, that other leg was being trained.
Yeah.
So like they would have like an immobilizer on that right leg, the one that just had surgery, and the left leg they'd make it do like leg extensions, TRX, single leg squats, all that stuff.
Well, I've seen studies about like if you have, let's say, one arm that you can't work, maybe you broke your arm or something, but even by training the other one, you'll actually still be able to stave off a certain amount of muscle loss on that immobilized arm. Because there's like a certain amount of systemic effects from training, and I'm guessing maybe that's the same thing.
It's the same thing probably.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because like they're all on the same nerve root level of that spinal cord.
Okay.
So it's like, if it's like for triceps, C7 nerve root is the same for the tricep on the right side as the left side.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So that makes sense. It's crazy though that like so many clinics would just neglect that. And then have you seen very distinctly different outcomes from clients who like approach it that way versus the other way?
Yeah, especially when I
You
do
have
like,
too?
yeah, have you had that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when I have like when I used to do a lot of home health.
Yeah.
Because these are people who would get total hip replacements, total knee replacements, and they would already be in those physical therapy clinics where it's like very insurance based. They would tell me, and they said that like, oh yeah, all we did the same thing, heat and all that stuff, and the recovery wasn't as great compared to when someone told me, oh yeah, I was actually put on a strength training program, even if it was just like sit to stands before my surgery, you know, for like 60 reps every day or something like that. That would even be more effective than just like not doing anything at all. Because some people think that like, oh, they're having surgery, then we'll just deal with it after the surgery. But it's like, no, you want to make sure that they're better prepared going into surgery, because that's going to already like decrease your function. You don't want to have a negative decreasing function.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
And I think like obviously there's multiple reasons why, you know, some clinics probably don't
Yeah.
do that and they just kind of do the easy stuff. Like some of it maybe is lack of knowledge, some of it's insurance constraints, whatever. But I think that's just like another example of why it's so important for like all of us to just continually educate, empower ourselves, keep studying, learning new information, learning new modalities, because we need to like be there in the best way for our clients, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, we always want to like keep learning. Like I think Gabe, I was telling you, I'm taking like a lower back pain course with kettlebells next week, and then in 2 weeks I'm taking a deceleration and breaks course for more of my athletic clients because I'm trying to make this summer more educational for me.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm like, all right, I need to like start like stimulating my brain a little more. Yeah.
Same.
And I'm over here and I'm like, just give it all to me.
No, Vanessa, I know we talked about like how you wanted to take like more continuing ed classes as well. Like what classes were you looking into?
Well, it's tough to say right now because so I just finished school and I was just like, just get the license, get it out of the way, do the thing, and then let's see where we're going next. So starting this week, Gabe and I are gonna do precision
nice,
nutrition.
right. PN1, right?
Yes, sir.
And then right now it's just really toning in the skills that I learned from school. And so I'm working with a couple of massage therapists to kind of really tone in and make sure that I'm like doing the thing and like I keep it fresh in my brain, but also can like apply it. So apply a lot of what they taught me in school, but also like a lot of those teachers are only doing massage maybe like 10-15 hours a week because they're teaching. But now looking at people, massage therapists that have been doing it for a while and seeing how like their success, where that kind of stemmed from, like what techniques and what are things that they would like, they wish they knew when they like first started out, you know, like what should I be focused on right now to keep everything fresh in my brain and then just be able to help people as best and as efficient as possible.
Oh yeah, I feel that because like when I would ask like my mentors, I would ask them like, what should I focus on? They told me something funny. They're like, don't get lost in the money, pretty much, because it's like, I mean, PT. Depending where you work, it's like not that much of a pay, but it's still a good amount. Yeah. But it's like you're gonna get so lost in the money that like you're gonna forget to actually educate yourself, and that there are gonna be things that you're gonna see later on in the future. Let's say like you have a patient that you haven't seen since like you were a student, and that patient has to see you. It's like, hey, are you actually gonna be able to know that shit? Or maybe there's recent studies that maybe this for lower back pain you don't have to strengthen so and so, or you don't have to assess so and so anymore. Will you be able to be up to that knowledge? Yeah. Consistently learning. You know, I think Michelangelo said he's still learning when he was like age 93.
That's beautiful.
I think that's a quote.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Constant. They one of my aunts, I think she's now in her 70s, 80s, but like they have at least in Massachusetts where they're at, they have discounts at the community colleges for people over 50 to go back to school and take courses. Because the biggest thing is like our brain just starts to I want to keep saying decelerate because that's what people say. I don't think that degrade over time, like but
I'm trying to find a word for
that. Losing like brain cells, and so you want to make sure that you're constantly using those brain cells that you used once, like when you were first starting to learn.
Neuroplasticity.
There we go. But it's really cool. So like she's like having conversations with her is really cool because she's learning just like random stuff every day, and I'm like, oh, that's cool,
right?
So, it also just makes you interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
interesting
like,
to talk to.
There's things that you can say.
Exactly.
You know?
You can say
You're not just talking about your cat.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Even in
the weather.
Because I know some people they can get burnt out from just like learning about like their whole career and all that. That's why like, I know you mentioned like you're trying to learn Spanish. Yeah,
which is still kind of
work
related.
That is still work related. Yeah, that's true. But so I'm like, damn. I honestly I should try learning a new language. Actually, I don't know if I told you the story, but Paige, my girlfriend, she was on a Duolingo streak for Spanish, but then she took a break, and then she kind of got me into it. And then I was just messing around, looking at different languages I could learn, and I was like, you know what? Haitian sounds like a cool language. Haitian. Yeah, it's like Creole language. So I actually finished like maybe 3 to 4. No, it was like 3 to 4 of those lessons.
That's fun.
I've been to Haiti.
You have been to Haiti?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw your wallpaper. Was that Haiti?
Yeah, that was Haiti.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
Do you
actually.
give us one word? Do you remember any words?
When.
When.
Do you know what that means?
No.
I forgot what it means. Hey, you said give me one word.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know what it meant. Hey, you said give me one word.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Vanessa. Vanessa is going to be a frequent guest, so you'll see her on much more often.
Yeah.
But before we wrap this up, anything for the audience you want them to know? How should they reach you? Your link, of course, is going to be in the description. We already know that.
Oh, that's facts.
Good facts.
Yeah, I mean, you just look for my license plate, Vanessa. It's all
Vanessa, she's always driving around San Diego. You'll see her at some point.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you have an email or anything?
Instagram, what's like the best way to reach you?
So my Instagram right now is fitnessa_SD. So
Nice. All right.
fitness, but with an A on it.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
That will be in the description.
Oh yeah.
Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Yes.
And we will
That
be
feels like
seeing
a
you all in the next episode. I'm Gabe.
I'm Brandon.
And
I'm
she's
Vanessa.
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 Peace.
Later.